Hey guys, I'm HungryMan97. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. We're talking about another set of basketball cards. This is kind of some junk wax era basketball, kind of the same years as baseball and same issues where they're incredibly overproduced. This is the 89 set of Hoops basketball. It was their very first set. We already did a video for the second set they did in 90. Well, if you look in the back, it's like 1989 to 1990. We call it 89 Hoops for short. So this set had a lot of new things that brought to the hobby, like color photos on the front and the back of the card. Two sets of cards that were released, a first series and a second series. And that was the first time that's been done because they were able to update where if a player was traded mid-season, he would come out in the second series where you'd see him in his new jersey. But also for errors, if there was an error they wanted to correct, they would correct that in the second series. They didn't do a very good job of that. There was a lot of errors that they missed. It's also the first year where they did a ton of cards. There was about 360 cards in the set if you count all the errors and variations. The biggest checklist that they'd ever come out with before. So kind of a bunch of new things there. We're going to be talking about this and GrunTalksMLB.com. My buddy Darren is over there running that site. If you have not already checked him out, do so. He's veteran friendly, all things baseball, funny stuff, videos, breakdowns. Also, he has a YouTube channel. So check that out. He has a lot of content he's coming out with all the time, and I appreciate that. He's also got my videos hosted on his website. And guys, speaking of my videos, if you're not already a subscriber, go down and hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you as a subscriber. Helps my channel grow. Anyway, let's get started with this checklist of errors. Number 14, Cotton Fitzsimmons. Well, he's a coach. There's no NBA logo on the back. That was uncorrected. They just left it off. Number 24, Harold Presley. On the fifth line of the bio, it talks about Cinderella. Well, it's misspelt. They misspelled Cinderella, and they didn't capitalize it for some reason. That was uncorrected. Bob Hansen, number 27, also uncorrected. Says he was drafted in 84. It should be 83. Number 40, Danny Manning, uncorrected. It says that he came into basketball in 1988, but it should be he was drafted in 1988 because they did that on all the cards. For some reason, they just left it off of his card. Whoop-de-doo. Number 92, Willis Reed, coach. This one was uncorrected. Okay, this one is funny. So it says in the second line of the bio that he was gambling in Louisiana. Well, it shouldn't say that. It should say Grambling because that's the name of the college. It should be Grambling in Louisiana, but it just looks like he was gambling in Louisiana. That's hilarious. They did not correct that one. Craig Hodges, 113, uncorrected error. In the third line of the bio, it says he was three-pointing. Well, it should be three-point leader, but it says three-pointing. That's just kind of a weird misspelling that was not corrected. Spud Webb, number 115. This was an error that was corrected. Says he was signed in 9/27 of 89. Well, that shouldn't be the case if this was an 89 set because he wasn't a rookie. It was corrected to 9/26 of 85. Spud Webb, short guy, 5'7". He could slam dunk. Very cool. Moving on here, Don Chaney, 123, coach. There's a variation where there's a black line next to NBA coaching record. It's just a black line that's out of place. I'm not sure why it's there. They did come back and remove that. That is normally considered an error, but it's clearly just a variation because it doesn't change any of the information on the back of the card. But you can get it with or without that. They're both inexpensive, both easy to find. Number 145, Buck Williams. This is when he was on the New Jersey Nets before he came over to my Rip City Trailblazers. Look at that field goal percentage. Well, the error is uncorrected and it's talked about on the back of his card, the third line of his bio, where it said he was Rookie of the Year in 81. It should be 82. That's it. Kevin McHale, 156. The Celtics logo is missing that trademark. They just did not add that, and they did not come back and correct that either. 163, John Bagley. 167, John Long. They have the wrong year that he was drafted. It should be 1 year earlier on both of those. Whoop-de-doo. 171, John McLeod. This is an error where it's missing the NBA logo on the back. They did come back and correct that, though, so you can get it with or without. Neither one of them really worth anything. Number 190, Clyde Drexler, my Rip City Trailblazers. Clyde the Glide, he says he was drafted as pick number 4. Well, it actually should be pick number 14. Should be 4, right? But it should be 14. They did not come back and correct that. Rod Higgins, 209. His 85 and 86 stats are missing San Antonio and Seattle. Well, he was traded a lot. They just left off those teams. They're cutting some corners there. Lenny Wilkens, number 216. This is the coach card. There's no NBA logo on the back. They did not correct that. Michael Williams, 224. They misspelt his name as Michael on the front and back. It should be Michael, Micheal. They misspelt it. I can see why they did that. Whoop-de-doo. They did not catch it and they did not correct it. And number 243, Ronnie Cycli, says he was born in Athens, Greece. And that was uncorrected. He's actually born in Beirut, Lebanon. They did not correct that. And I'm mentioning that because in the very next year, in 90, they also had the wrong place of birth. It says he was born in Athens, Greece. But in the second series, they corrected that to say Beirut, Lebanon. So it's interesting. The error was in both years, but it was only corrected in the second one. Michael Cage, 245, says he was drafted in 85. Should be 84. Bernie Bickerstaff, the coach. That's a funny name, isn't it? 269. Bickerstaff. Well, they got his date of birth wrong. They did come back and correct that, so you can get either variation. 279, Orlando Woolridge. Lakers are missing the trademark on the back. That was corrected. James Edwards, 284. There's a black line next to his number on the back corner. Looks kind of out of place there. It's kind of easy to miss, but if you look at it, I don't know what's going on. They did come back and remove that. Rick Adelman, 291, coach of my Trailblazers. On the 8th line of the bio, it says he's from Schmecketa, but it should be Schmecketa. It's kind of a Native American name. It's a college here in Oregon. If you are from Oregon, you probably heard of it. They did not correct that. A side note of this card, I love how Hoops used the same picture for the front and the back, kind of cutting some corners, hoping no one would notice, I guess. But that was not the error. So number 315, Buck Williams. So we're going into the updated set here. So we got a second card with Buck Williams when he was traded to my Trailblazers. Has the same issue where it talks about his rookie of the year being the wrong year. 327, Bill Fitch, coach, missing copyright and year. Very strange. Has the verbiage at the bottom talking about the copyright, but doesn't have the word copyright, doesn't have the year either. So just kind of looks out of place if you take a look at that. Bill Jones, 341. He's listed as a center. Now, he played as a center in college, but in the NBA, he was not a center. So that was the mistake, but I can see why they did it. That one was not corrected. Michael Williams, 344. Same as the previous card in the first series. They have his first name misspelt on front and back. Caldwell Jones, 347. Uncorrected error. So Caldwell Jones is a veteran player, not veteran, but a veteran player, where he actually was in the ABA, and he was only one of two players that were in the ABA still playing in the NBA at the time. Well, the error is that it says he was part of the 1983 76ers team. That was not correct. He never played for the 76ers in 83. And 353, Detroit Pistons champs. Well, there's a variation with this card where there's two versions of it. You got the celebrating team card, and then you got the second version, which is the boring like Pistons logo. So the thing is the celebrating team one is one that was issued in packs. The word is it was short printed. This is a source I could find that I couldn't really verify completely, but it was short printed apparently in the packs, and people were upset it was hard to find. So they made the second version with the Pistons logo available through the mail, and you could get it for free just by asking for it to kind of appease its customers. They wanted to send it out for free, so people didn't feel like it was too hard to get to complete the set. So both cards are easy to find on eBay. The celebrating team is definitely a little bit more rare, but not really that expensive either. So kind of a cool one there. Now, it's interesting also on the back of the card, there is an uncorrected error where it's talking about the Pistons announcer, George Blaha, but it's misspelt Blana. They got an N in it. It should be Blaha for his last name. Whoop-de-doo. I didn't know who he was. All right. A couple more things I'll mention about this set is that there is two different subsets with this 89 hoops. And one of them is the Hoops Superstars. It looks just like the cards except it has this ugly like yellow background. Those were only distributed through Sears. You can go into Sears and you can buy a 100 card box called Hoops Superstars. And they're pretty cheap. They're really inexpensive now. They're not worth much more than the regular set anyway. Now they have the same pictures and the same information as the base set, but it's only a 1 through 100 set. And because they're renumbered, they're not considered a parallel. That's important to know because They look like a parallel, but the numbers are only 1 through 100, so they're considered a subset. The other subset is called Hoops Announcers. Now, these are really rare. A lot of people don't even know about them. But with these Hoops Announcers, these were cards that feature the announcers from like each team in each city. And they're really hard to find. A lot of people don't even know where they came from, like how they got distributed. One source I found is they were distributed straight to the announcers. The announcers were able to give them out, which if they decide not to give any out, then you simply couldn't find this card. So I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but what I will tell you is that they're really valuable. They're available on eBay for the most part, starting at like $15 and going up to about, I don't know, maybe $50. And I'm sure a lot of them you can't even find. So have you heard of those before? Pretty cool, huh? Guys, that is the whole list of errors. Quite a few in the set. Hoops was trying to get on the scene, and they made a lot of mistakes in the process. Very plain looking, kind of boring. But there they are. Guys, I hope you're liking and subscribing. We got a lot of cool stuff on the way, and we'll see you next time. Bickerstaff.